Welcome, this is Brian with the publicly available data channel, and today I want to look into why the U.S. oil rig count is not increasing as fast as the oil prices lead us to believe they should.
So the first thing I wanted to do was just show visually what was happening with the oil rig count and the oil price. Did some Googling to try to find out where I could get that data, and lo and behold, I found it on EIA.gov, which is a really good source for anything energy related. So definitely wasn't surprised to find the oil prices, but was surprised to find oil rig count on there as well. Only call out here is that it's an oil rig count combined with natural gas rig count. I couldn't find one that separated the two. But I grabbed the data annually back to 2002, and in the green you see the West Texas Intermediate per barrel price of oil, and in the gray bars here you see the rig count in the US. And just visually you can see that there's a correlation between the two. I actually ran the numbers and got a 79% correlation. So obviously really highly correlated when prices go up, rig count goes up, and vice versa. But what gets weird is at 2021, and unfortunately we don't have the annual 22 numbers yet, to show that rig counts are just stagnant down here around 478, if you can see that. And it's not jumping up with the price of oil. So when I did some searching on that, anecdotally what I heard was that production costs have increased because cost of goods sold and supply chain issues have increased the input cost for production. So again, had to do some more searching to try to find what it costs to actually run a rig.
So after a ton of poking around, I found something really close to what I needed, but not exactly. But it was buried deep within the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas, and they asked survey respondents in 2022, what West Texas Intermediate oil price does your firm need to profitably drill a new well? And they asked, I guess, folks that were working in various regions of the U.S. The four leftmost regions here are all in Texas, and the two on the right are just the remainder of the U.S., broken out into non-shale production and shale production. And the line graph here shows the average price of the responses that would be needed to generate profit on the well. So not the production cost exactly. And then the bar charts show the range of responses they got. So the way I read this is not some non-shale U.S. production would need a price of like 150 to be profitable. So it makes sense that those wouldn't be turned on. However, on the 2021 annual price of West Texas Intermediate, we had 68. So we have a ton of production that is well below that $68 price, especially in this Texas region. So it still doesn't make sense why they wouldn't have turned on, since they're a good $10 in some cases below the given price that they need to be profitable. So the fact that Texas in particular was so well suited to take advantage of the increased prices, I wanted to learn more about what was going on in Texas. And that's when I found this really cool report by Haynes Boone. And it turns out, I think this is the last one they're ever going to do. It said in the intro, as of 2021, they have been recording since 2015 the number of bankruptcies in the oil production fields. And it's pretty staggering how many people have went bankrupt in this field. The green line here shows the cumulative number of bankruptcies, and then the yellow are new bankruptcies within the year. And so it just seems like there's just not as many players out there to even take advantage of this potential profitability with the increase in oil prices. So I thought that was a pretty interesting story. But then I scrolled down in this report and found an even more interesting finding. And that's when they broke down the bankruptcies by state. And you can see here that by far the most bankruptcies happened in the state of Texas, where it seems like the production costs are some of the lowest. So the area where they stand to make the most profits by turning on more rigs, there's just less companies down there able to do it. So it's going to take a little bit more time to not only ramp up those rigs, but also get the companies out there and back up and profitable and built to actually drill the oil. So I think in total, there seems to be there's obviously multiple reasons why the oil rig count isn't increasing as fast as it likely could or should. The big one is this up here in the top right, is the fact that some of our cheapest production has a shortage of companies based on bankruptcies, it appears. The next thing that I think I breezed over it, but there was this big dip in 2020 that may have gotten some producers a little bit scared to make any sort of semi-permanent decisions by turning on wells, not knowing what was going to happen with the COVID response and the state of oil prices. And then finally, within this report about the cost of production, even though all these costs of productions are lower than the $68 of the 2021 price, there was numerous mentions of the fact that these prices had increased because of supply chain issues and just general cost of goods sold, inflation and prices going up on that. So there could be some consideration of, even though this seems lower now, maybe these are going to keep going up. So there's just some hesitancy to start with all the volatility. But all in all, that was the findings that I had after kind of just a very simple question: why are the rig counts not going on up? And I found out a lot of really cool stuff about the industry, and I think I'm going to continue making videos around oil production for sure, but I'm also going to go into a lot of other industries and a lot of other data sources. So please like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks a lot for watching.